to have with us here this afternoon two greats of British motorsport, a 4 times British touring car champion, and the man who's his boss, whose team also recorded their 4th consecutive manufacturer's title on that memorable day at Brands Hatch a few weeks ago. Please welcome Dick Bennetts and Colin Turkington. So, plenty to chat to you both about, but I've got to start off by asking you about that day at Brands Hatch a few weeks ago. It had the absolute lows and the absolute highs of motorsport. Now you've had a chance to look back on it, Colin. What are your sort of abiding memories of that day?
Oh, loads. I think I'm still only slowly starting to come back down to earth. It's those final weekends feel like the whole season compressed in one. There's so much happens, you know, from the Saturday morning to you leave on Sunday, but race day itself, I don't know where to start. It was, you know, so many emotions. You know, you build yourself going up into the start of the day, and race 1 for me got off to a great start. I think at a P5, solid result. You know, finished in front of the other protagonists, and you feel like, okay, I'm up and running. You know, the day is going my way. But in one moment, that all changes, and you know, race 2 was my worst nightmare. Probably got my best start of the season, but that put me into a Honda sandwich, and you know, not a comfortable place to be with Matt Neal behind. And obviously, lap 1 of race 2, I'm facing the traffic, and seeing my championship hopes just go down the drain in an instant. So at that point in time, you know, I spoke to you after race 2, and my exact words were, "I'm out of it. That's my championship over." And that wasn't a lie. You know, that's exactly how I felt, because I knew the other guys had scored well. I think Dan Camish won race 2, so I had to start race 3 from the back. You know, I could barely see the start lights. I couldn't see the 5-second board. I was that far back, so my chances of retaining the championship at that stage were very, very slim to none. But you know, once the lights go out, you forget about all that. You just get into race mode. You know, my back was against the wall. I just had to try and go forward and gain as many places as I could. So you know, what unfolded through that race was just incredible, really. It was just the emotions I went through on that day, so I can only imagine what you were going through. And Dick, you had 2 drivers competing for the title, so seriously tricky situation for you to manage, because you've got to keep everything equal and even, but inevitably there are emotions running through the team as well.
Yep. Hello. Yep. It was the first time we've ever had 2 guys who could win, and it's such a difficult position because they're both great guys, they're both friends, but only one can win. So at the end of the day, from our side, we didn't mind because it would be a WSR BMW. But I knew Colin wanted to win, AJ wanted to win, so there was a little bit of pressure mounting. But at the end of the day, it was no aggro between the drivers. And as Cole said earlier, after race 2, we thought, that's it, the championship's gone. And just through Colin's determination and with Dan's problem he had, which we all and probably 2,000 people texting us saying that was karma paying us back, or paying Dynamics back for the problem that Matt created in race 2. But it was, at the end of the day, to finish 1st and 2nd was a fantastic achievement. We'd done 88 races with the 3 cars. AJ didn't do 2 at Donington, and we never had a mechanical failure in all those races. So the team did a great job. We come here today to do a few 50-minute sessions. We've had 2 mechanical failures. So the preparation during the year is 110%, but we had a little problem today, but both cars will be out again for the next session. I love the fact that you're running a test session here today. I mean, does the thought of a holiday ever cross your mind, Dick? Well, Cole's just gotten back from China in front-wheel drive, so we thought we'd better get him back in a rear-wheel drive mode. But also, because we actually race here next year on the international track, we just wanted to check out things like gear ratios, that we know we won't be too far away, but the the good English weather is not really helping us. But also we've got a few things on the chassis which, because the cars were brand new this year, we come out the box running, you're too afraid to go too far out of your known quantity. So today we're trying things what we'd never normally try on a race weekend. It's too risky. So we are learning and having a bit of a play.
You've both been in this championship for quite some time now, obviously Dick for many years. Colin, you've been around for quite a few years now. You're one of the sort of old hands at it. Does it get easier? No, I can imagine what the answer is here, but or does it get tougher as time goes by?
For sure, the level goes up every season, and particularly in the last, I would say, 3-4 seasons, the whole grid has condensed massively. My first year in the championship was 2002, and there was really only 3 manufacturers, and one would always win. So if you wanted to win the championship, you would just go in that car. But with the latest version of the British Touring Car rules, if you turn up as a team with a good car, you do a good job, you have a reliable car, then anybody has a chance to win. And we saw last year, 2018, there was 17 different race winners. So really, anybody can win this BTCC championship. It's not just 4 or 5 guys at the front or 1 or 2 teams at the front. It can be anybody. And the level of competition this year, again, just the bar raises every year. And the fact that it goes to round 30 of 30 shows you how close and how competitive it is. So, that's why we as a team are here today. You got to keep pushing on, because we know the competition is going to come back better and faster next year. So although we had a really good car, good package this year, we need to be faster next year. So unfortunately, you enjoy the moment for maybe one evening, and then you start thinking about 2020. And as Dick said, I was racing in Chinese touring cars last weekend, and for me that's just an opportunity to go outside of my comfort zone and get back into a front wheel drive car and race against the crazy Chinese drivers and get beaten up for a weekend. So for me that was it was a really difficult weekend, but again it's the first step in my preparation for 2020. But yes, definitely I'm going to have a holiday. These guys may not, but over Christmas I'm looking forward to a holiday, because the season is so intense. And as you get into those final few race weekends, the screw tightens and you're not sleeping at night. BTCC consumes you, and it is a massive release when it's over. So yeah, I'm going to take a few weeks out at Christmas, because I have to come back as hungry, as passionate as the other guys that haven't won it. For instance, Dan Camish, he comes so close this year that he's going to be coming into 2020 full revs again and as hungry as ever. So I have to be able to put myself in that position as well. I've been fortunate to win it 4 times, but it's so important that I come back in the mindset that I have never won it. Because you have to be prepared to put everything on the line, and I will be prepared to do that.
That level of competition that Colin's talking about, Dick, what does that say about the standard and the appeal of the BTCC?
It's, as Cole said, it's probably the toughest championship. I know quite a few guys in the Aussie V8s, guys in World Touring Cars, and they all say the BTCC is the toughest because, again, as Cole said, the current regulations, it's very hard to get an advantage. But one of the advantages that we believe we have, running 3 cars, especially having Colin and AJ this last 3 years, we can develop together. Guys running a 1-car team find it hard because if you go down the wrong road, you're not sure where to stop and come back. Whereas we can try 3 different setups, get the feedback, put it into the computers, look at it and decide which way to move. So even though each driver has a slightly different driving style, we pulled enough information to work out what's the best tyre pressures for wets, for dries, what's the best gear ratios to run. So sometimes we go to a track, especially this year with the new car, we would have 2 cars with the same ratios, 1 car with a different set, but then we can overlay it and see which is the best way. So it's an advantage having like a 3-car team. Gives us a few more headaches when it comes to the last 2 rounds, because 2 guys both wanting to win, but it's a good problem to have.
A few little tweaks to the championship for 2020. We've got the sort of the qualifying shootout, so a new system introduced at Snetterton round of the championship next year. It'll be 25 minutes as it is at the moment, but then a last 10-minute shootout for the top 10. What do you think of that?
I just hope I'm fast enough to be in that final 10 to go for the... I'm not sure if it's a 1-lap shootout or just a short 10-minute qualifying session. You would know, Dick.
It was actually me that put it up to the TOCA team's meeting, because we've had the same 30-minute session for years, so let's try something different. And my actual proposal was 15 minutes for 30 cars, or the full grid, 5-minute break and then 10 minutes, but a lot of teams said they wanted a bit more of a comfort zone to do 2 runs in the first session, but then the final 10 minutes is the top 10, and whoever's quickest starts from pole.
Yeah, it's one of the things I love about BTCC is that it never stands still as a championship. You know, they're always looking at what they can do better or new initiatives. You know, Snetterton this year, we had to run the soft, medium and hard compounds over the course of the 3 races, and you know, normally Snetterton, just with the layout of the circuit, the racing can be a bit dull, but just having that extra lottery of a tyre choice just, you know, adds spice to the whole day and gets people talking, and it did create a fantastic race 3, probably one of the best races of the year. So, you know, it's great that, you know, Alan Guy, our, you know, the championship leader, you know, I think he sits at home and thinks, okay, what can we do next year to make it more difficult for the guys?
That same format we tried at Snetterton is actually going to be run at Croft as well next year. So both Snetterton and Croft, you'll have to run the soft, medium, hard. So it adds a bit more excitement again, and it makes the teamwork harder to how there's also another small tweak. This year and previous years, we've always had to announce on the Saturday before qualifying what tyres we run on Sunday, when you run them, race 1, 2, 3. Next year we don't have to. So no other team will know till you leave the pit lane of what tyres are on. So that adds another bit of a curveball in. Yeah,
thanks for that. I'm the one who's going to be running up down the pit lane trying to make a note of what tyres everyone's running.
We'll let you know what we're on.
But as you say, it's important to keep invigorating the championship, isn't it? Does it get to a point, though, when you kind of think, well, it's very popular, it's growing year on year, why fiddle with it?
Well, the other good news is we're coming here to race for the first time, so it's good to have an alternative. We used to love going to Mondello Park. I'd go to the Guinness factory on a Friday afternoon, so but it's become too expensive to do that. But it's quite a few people put a suggestion we go to places like Spa or Zandvoort, but it is a British Touring Car Championship, so and as Alan Gow says, the television numbers have gone up, the crowds are still 35, 40,000 people, and there's no sign of it slowing down. 2022 we're going hybrid, so personally I like the sound of a racing engine because it's showing my age, but you know, Formula E is to me so quiet. I can understand manufacturers doing it because developing road cars, but for BTC you've got to have a bit of noise, a bit of rubbing, not pushing, a bit of rubbing, so great championship.
We just have just over a minute left to go, and there's just a final question to both of you, a slightly different question. There are obviously a lot of young drivers here, or drivers who are at sort of an early stage of their career looking to progress in motorsport. What, as a team owner, what's the best piece of advice that you would give to a young driver? What is it that you're looking for in a young driver other than speed?
To a driver?
Yeah.
It's, as we said earlier, it's a very tough championship, so preparation of your previous formula, what you choose to do before you step up to the BTC, it's not easy, but it's fantastic championship. So I think for younger drivers, choose your path. Like I think Ginetta Junior is a fantastic championship for the young lads. Then you go into Porsche Carrera Cup. It's a powerful rear-wheel drive car. And I think now next year, the Mini Challenge is joining the TOCA package. So if you enjoy front-wheel drive, you could drive one of the Mini Cooper S's. I think that'll be a big grid from what I've heard. So there's several categories, and I think it's important to get onto the TOCA package because it's such a busy weekend. We have 3 races. I think most of the support races have 3, so you've really got to be focused, well organised. So it's, yeah, there's several categories for young guys, and make sure you work hard on getting the sponsorship because it's, you know, to run at the front, it's cheap formula compared to a lot of other formulas, but a lot of guys say it's quite expensive. But reality for the television package, for the entertainment value, live television, lots of crowd, it's quite a cheap category to be in.
And Colin, final question to you. What's the best piece of advice that you've ever been given as a driver?
Oh, don't do motorsport. It's you know, I have 2 boys. They're at the age now to start a career or a hobby in motorsport. And,
that's going to be expensive.
I know. But I think that the one message that I would give would be just to, you know, to a young driver is just to keep driving and drive something you enjoy. You know, I see a lot of young kids get pigeonholed that they have to do karting. You know, they have to do karting at a high level, and yes, that is great if you can afford to do that. It teaches you a lot, but you know, I only did a few years of karting, and then did things like autograss racing. You know, I raced a Metro at Kyrgyzstan, and you see by looking up and down the pit lane today, there's such a variety of cars. You know, you can do lanes rallying, you can do auto testing. You know, some great drivers started in auto testing, Andy Preo in hill climbs. So, you know, don't think that you have to follow the typical route to get to touring cars or F1 wherever. You know, just drive what you can afford and keep working hard at it. And if you keep working hard and believe you can do it, you know, fair chances you'll get to where you want to go.
Sage advice from both of you. Thank you very much for coming along and joining us here today. Dick Bennetts and Colin Turkington.